It's no secret that Americans are more divided than ever. And it's not just over what policies will improve our great country. No, it's over whether America is great at all, whether America deserves our love. That's why Imprimis is so important. Imprimis looks at the issues of the day from a constitutional perspective, reminding citizens always of our great heritage of liberty. For more than 50 years, Imprimis has featured speeches from the smartest conservative thinkers and writers at Hillsdale events. These days, Hillsdale publishes people like Molly Hemingway, Andy Puzder, Harmeet Dillon, and Chris Rufo. Over 6.4 million American households and businesses receive Imprimis absolutely free. And I urge you to sign up for it today at no charge. To get your free lifetime subscription, go to hillsdale.edu/lifetime right now. Or text the word Imprimis to 71844 and we'll send you a link to sign up for your free lifetime subscription. That's IMPRIMIS to 71844.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Bubble, a Hillsdale College Career Services production where we take you outside the classroom and into the professional arena to bring you special tips and tricks from recent alumni in all areas of practice. This show is part of the Hillsdale College Podcast Network. More episodes at podcast.hillsdale.edu or wherever you find your audio. I'm Lauren Scott, and joining me today is Adam Stockford, a graduate of Hillsdale College and mayor of the city of Hillsdale. Thank you so much for joining me today, Adam.
Thank you for having me, Lauren.
While you were a student at Hillsdale, what did you study?
Studied politics mostly. So I was a transfer student. And of course, at Hillsdale, you still have to take the core. I can't remember what's it called.
Yeah, the core curriculum.
Yeah. The core classes like the intro to the Constitution and whatnot. So, mostly a lot of of course, I transferred in from community college. A lot of my credits had transferred. So pretty much my whole time there, I got to study politics classes, which I enjoyed. I think I had to take a chemistry class, which was tedious. And then, yeah, that's about it that I remember. Oh, no, hold on. I had to take Spanish. So I had to decide whether or not I wanted a degree in the sciences or in the arts, of course. And I was really not looking forward to taking an abundance of classes in the sciences departments. So I chose art. Well, when you have an arts degree, of course, as you know, you have to learn a foreign language at Hillsdale. So I chose Spanish. That was probably the most challenging thing that I had to do at Hillsdale, and the only thing outside of the scope of studying politics that I had to do there.
What did you enjoy about the politics major at Hillsdale?
The professors. I mean, I really got to make buddies with most of the politics department. A lot of those guys are still dear friends of mine. Hillsdale has excellent professors, and they're fabulous at thinking outside the box. You get to hear things that you wouldn't hear in general course of conversations, probably in most of the universities and colleges in the United States. So I still keep up with a lot of those gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, it's, one of a few things that any degree from Hillsdale is great, any course of study, but economics, politics, those are the departments that are kind of the bread and butter of the school.
You have been mayor of Hillsdale since 2017. Tell me how that experience has been.
Oh, well, I mean, it's run the plethora pretty much. It's been very enjoyable in some cases. It's been tedious and disappointing in other cases. I really have a strong inclination to public service, and I think people should. but I never joined the military when I was younger, and it was something that I almost did, and I was talked out of it by some people who were close to me at the time. And I always felt like if you're going to be a participant in society, that you should find some way to contribute to the public sphere in some way or another and to serve your country. So when I first went back to school, I thought maybe I'd be a police officer because that was what was kind of driving me in that direction. I thought that was a way that I could serve society in some productive way that would benefit everybody. And I did ultimately end up getting a degree in criminal justice before I ended up going to Hillsdale. But I didn't. Got about 3/4 of the way through with my degree and decided, I don't think that I want to be a police officer. And, I transferred to Hillsdale, and this is the way I see it. This is my way to serve the public. And so when I'm an old man on my deathbed and hopefully in my 80s or 90s, and I can look at my children and I can look at my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren and be able to tell them how I served the country in some way.
What are some of your duties as mayor?
What I think is probably the most important duty is board appointments. And it's not something that got a lot of attention before I was mayor, but it's something that people most certainly pay attention to now. Boards are where most of the policy of the city is drafted, and the mayor has 100% purview over appointments. So, and that's with the approval of council, of course. So I have to bring them to council to get approval, but I'm the only one that can bring a name forward for an appointment on a board or a committee. So that's probably the most important duty is appointing all these folks to committees. It's really a way to kind of be able to, and when I say this, I don't want people to take it the wrong way, but it's kind of a way to be able to make the city in the image that you'd like to see it, the direction that you'd like to see it go in. Outside of those committee appointments, also essentially all the department heads are hired by the mayor. So the city manager, public services director, police chief, fire chief, city attorney, city treasurer, city clerk, all those positions are hired by the mayor. And those employment possibilities come forward the same way that appointments to committees come forward. So you put forth a name, you bring it to council, they either approve it or they shoot it down. So I think that's the most important aspect of my job. Of course, there's a lot of, we approve the budget every year. City council does that. So of course, a lot of my job is budgetary, having to make sure that the city is passing this audit every year, having to make sure that the money's going in the places that it should be going to and not going to frivolous engagements. So those are probably the two most important things. But there's a lot more to the job than just that. I mean, generally speaking, I think most people around the country would say that whoever the mayor of whatever particular city is kind of the face of the city. So, besides the statutory requirements of the job, optics are a huge part of it too, which is just politics in general, I guess. But not my favorite part, I will say.
As a city mayor, you represent a great number of people who do not agree on a lot of different matters. So what do you do to deal with conflict and strive to have unity in a community where there is a lot of indifference that exists? Sure.
Well, conflict's a part of politics, and it's something that's unavoidable. Something that I have found, you have to be able to have thick skin, and you have to be able to take a lot of things with a grain of salt and in stride, because I will tell you, people, they don't remember the 99% of the time that they agree with you on something. But if they disagree with you on something, they remember that one time that you did something that upset them or made a decision that was contrary to what they thought their own personal interests were. So I don't know. There's not a way to escape it. If you're going to serve in political positions, especially in the present day, you're going to upset people. And if you're in it just to make everybody happy, it's just simply not the business for you. So, Hillsdale, I think, is an understanding community. I'm out in the community all the time. I don't have a palace or a white tower that I live in. I'm out there every day with people. I'm always talking to them. So what I found is people might get upset with you about things, but on the flip side of that coin, they do eventually forgive you. So, I don't shy away from conflict. I don't think people that are in public service, especially the political spectrum of public service, should shy away from conflict. It's the nature of the beast.
Before you were mayor, you were on city council. What was that like, and how was the transition from being on city council to becoming mayor?
Well, luckily the transition was smooth because I got to spend 4 years watching the previous mayor do his job. So, I think that it's of benefit to anybody in the future that if they want to be mayor, that they either spend a lot of time going to city council meetings and watching them, or that they serve on city council themselves. So the transition was great for me. I kind of liked being a city council person better, I would have to say. I got to still be a part of all the decision-making process, but at the end of the day, all of the responsibility didn't fall down on my head for every decision that's made at City Hall. And that's including decisions that I was against, things that I voted against. I still have to take responsibility for them when they pass council and when they become policy at the city of Hillsdale. So I very much enjoyed being a city council person, and I thought that I would very much enjoy being, and don't get me wrong, I do enjoy very much being the mayor, but there's only one mayor, and that's the person that the city of Hillsdale residents hold accountable for what happens at City Hall.
What are some of the obligations that a person on city council has?
Well, the mayor makes appointments to committees. There's, I believe, if I can remember right, I think there's 5 standing committees, city council committees. That's public services, public safety. Public services would be like the streets, the parks. Public safety is the police department, fire department. Then there's community development, which is essentially economic development. Then there's O&G, which is operations and governance, is kind of rules and procedure of council. And then the last one is finance, which is, of course, the budget. So each council member serves on 1 or 2 or 3 committees, however many that they have the whatever time obligation that they can fulfill. So the most important thing a council member does is serve on those committees. And that's where the decisions that will eventually be brought to council are made at. So you can bet when something comes forward to council that it has already been looked at by whatever committee oversees it very, very, very tediously.
So you are running for state representative of the 35th district. How has that campaign been for you so far?
Oh, it's been great so far. It's been, I ran in 2020. This is something that I wanted to do. I often tell people, and it's completely true, that the most difficult part of my job as mayor is dealing with the state of Michigan. Of course, the last time that I ran in 2020, it was a very controversial presidential election year. We ended up having the COVID shutdowns and whatnot. So that was a huge catalyst to making me want to run for state representative and make the jump to Lansing. Campaign didn't turn out successful, but I learned a lot. There was pretty much, I would say, 3 or 4 things that I learned that I did wrong in 2020. And we're going to do all those things right this time in 2024. So things have been going great. We're performing very well. I feel like we're the clear front runner. And I think as the next few months roll by, April, May, and June, we will just cement that position. And, I look forward to serving my friends and neighbors in Branch County and Hillsdale County and the city of Hudson.
How would being state representative compare to being mayor?
Well, there's 100 and something state representatives, and there's only one mayor. So like I was saying before, it'll be nice to be able to be part of decision making again without having to be the chief executive officer. You know, the district's much bigger. Here in the city of Hillsdale, I represent something like 8,000 people. Each district is almost 100,000 people for a state representative. So it's going to be a lot more constituents, a lot more opinions that I'm going to have to take into account when I'm voting on something, a lot more area to cover in person. So it's a bigger job. Of course, you're compensated much better than I'm compensated at the city. So at the end of the day, you know, it's not something that you're just doing for free. You're getting paid for it. So yeah, I mean, I think that I have the experience to be able to go to Lansing and do a good job just in all the experience that I've had in local government, and also the fact that I've paid attention to politics for the 20 past years. And then, of course, I have a degree in politics, so I feel like I have a good grasp on what the job is going to be, and that I'm going to be able to do the job well. Another function that's going to be different is that the seats in Lansing are partisan seats, so you have to, you know, choose one of the two parties. And, of course, anybody that knows me knows that I lean much stronger towards the Republican side of things, so I'm running as a Republican. But having to work with people, I guess, in your own party, and then on the flip side of that coin, having to work with people in the opposing party, that's going to be a new dynamic that I haven't experienced yet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate the opportunity.
You have been listening to Beyond the Bubble, a podcast by Hillsdale College Career Services. This show is part of the Hillsdale College Podcast Network. More episodes at podcast.hillsdale.edu or wherever you find your audio. I'm Lauren Scott, and have a great day.